What's the biggest misconception people have about sexual healing?
That you actually always have to sort of start with trauma. Actually, there's so much healing that comes from pleasure. Sometimes it's better to start with pleasure, and it creates more resilience for when you do have to do some of the deeper trauma work.
Sex is not just physical, and I think we're going there at this point to know that. But there's a psychological piece here, a truly emotional, deep healing piece. And today I'm joined by two pioneers in the field of sexual embodiment, Dr. Danielle and Celeste, who are the founders of the Somatica Institute. And trust me, their work, I promise you, is not surface level. Trust me, we laughed, we blushed, and we made some very unexpected sounds. So whether you've been shut down, confused, disconnected, you're stuck in a porn script, this episode is really your permission slip to come home to your body. Let's talk about sex, real sex, the medicinal part of sex, the healing sex, human sex, connected sex. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I could tell you guys are in sync. You've been working together for years. That was perfect. Tell us a little bit about what you've created over the past 20 years together.
Yeah, we founded the Somatica Institute, where we train coaches in our method of sex and relationship coaching. It's experiential, it's vulnerable, and it's really about getting fully back into your body and owning who you are.
Oh, that's it. That's all we need, right?
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Is it easier said than done?
I don't know. It was quite organic. We kind of grew with it over time and developed step by step, and it felt like very right for us. We're very much in alignment. Of course, it's hard to create an institute and a method, but it was flowing for us.
I feel that. I got a rapid fire question for you both. What's the biggest misconception people have about sexual healing?
That you actually always have to sort of start with trauma. Actually, there's so much healing that comes from pleasure. And so sometimes it's better to start with pleasure, and it creates more resilience for when you do have to do some of the deeper trauma work.
I want to talk about that in a moment. The pleasure avenue versus the trauma avenue, because we're on the trauma avenue right now.
Yeah.
I got another.
Like you mean like culturally?
Culturally,
like,
yeah,
we
for
like
sure.
Really putting trauma front and center.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
love pleasure.
We love pleasure, and I want to talk about that because pleasure is the biggest. That's the big one. If someone could make you one day change your perspective, right, on how you thought about relationships and improving relationships 20, 30 years ago and where you are now, right? What's that one thing that really improves the relationship that you see in people you work with? Holy shit, we've made a big difference right now.
Yeah, I really think that self-acceptance and vulnerability are the two most important things that you can kind of bring into a relationship. Like really like look at yourself and love yourself. That's the self-work. And vulnerability and is the together work.
I got a lot of questions on that one too. And for the ladies, I'm going to answer from the fellas' perspective and ask questions from the fellas' perspective, because I know that sometimes we can be tough with this stuff, okay? What's been the most surprising thing you've learned from working with your participants in your program?
We always have trouble with that question. I don't know why.
We don't have it.
No surprises.
We're gonna have to think about that.
Okay,
We've
no
been
problem.
thinking about it for a long time, and we've been asked about it for a long time, and we are not surprised. Not to
Humans
sound
are
arrogant.
no, but I mean, humans are so complex and interesting. But if you assume that they're complex, then it's not surprising.
Yeah.
When they come with those complexities, you know what I mean?
What is the biggest emotional block to pleasure?
Shame.
Yeah.
That's what I felt too.
Yeah.
Shame.
Big time shame. Okay. Enough with the rapid fires. I want to get into this, the good stuff now. The shame you just said, and that stuck out like an exclamation mark over my head. Shame for what? What are people holding? Is it all different types of shame? What is the shame in the context of sexuality?
Yeah, I think a lot of shame that people hold around sexuality can be around their turn-ons and their desires, and that's like one kind of shame. And the other one is like about their bodies not being the right body to have sex. So I think these are like the major two things. What do you think?
Yeah, and I would add to that maybe just like when you have sex, you kind of have to like, I don't know, you get into weird positions, strange sounds happen, you know what I mean?
100%,
to
yeah.
orgasm,
To
especially like you make
orgasm.
weird faces, you have to clench your muscles, you know. And I think there's all this taboo, like I have to look a certain way and I have to present myself a certain way. But it's like to really build and release pleasure in your body, you know, it's like can be goofy sometimes or loud or weird. And I think there's self-consciousness that stops people from just being like, you know, like when we're little kids, we're just like playing in the mud and squishing stuff all over, you know, it's like pleasure is front and center. But as we're told, like, oh, stop doing that and don't do that, right? It all sort of like tightens up, and then it's hard to get to those heights.
What you said exactly was my journey.
Mm-hmm.
The holding back my authentic pleasure because of the identity that I've created.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest resistance, the fear of performance and having to be a certain way.
Yeah. And I think like across the gender spectrum, people experience it because they can experience that they are too specific or need to take a long time, or they can experience that they need to perform for their partner to be, that's
That's a big man one.
That's a big man thing.
one,
And the
yeah.
other one is the big woman, the social as a woman thing. Like, you know, I'm taking too long. I'm supposed to be more orgasmic. I'm supposed to take, you know, I don't need to, I can't be specific about what I want. And I know I'm like super specific about what I want, you know, and it's hard to accept it and then communicate it and like really like take it with like flow and into it.
You had said something that stuck out just now is the right bodies for sex. What does that mean?
Like people think they need to be like that specific, you know, socialized body, you know, like the body that we see on Instagram or the body that we see in porn or the body, you know, depends what porn you see, actually a lot of different kinds of bodies, but you know, the one that have more like photoshopped and kind of like very specific, and people think like, oh, I'm too big, or I have like my skin is not perfect, like I'm not allowed to show myself with my sexuality and with my body. Like even like how can you have sex and enjoy yourself if you're like hiding yourself or hiding your belly or hiding your boobs or
of course. And you're in your head self-conscious about those things. How can you feel your pleasure, right?
Or genital sizes or you know.
So for the people out there, it's about dropping into pleasure. But if we're living in our head about how we look or how we perform, then we can't feel our pleasure.
Exactly.
So how do the people listening going, okay, whoa, wait a minute, I've been in my head. I think about how I have to perform for my lady, or if he's going to make me orgasm, or if I have to fake an orgasm or something like that. My God, how do we start slowing down these stories in the bedroom? Because it might be that they walk in the bedroom and there's already subconscious signals that go, oh, I got to start getting in performance mode or orgasm mode. How do we just start calming down the system?
I mean, I do it constantly with my partners. Like I breathe, I kiss them slowly, I pet them really slowly. I almost like sort of get them into this trance, you know, of relaxed arousal with an invitation. You know, I like kind of like, teasing them into it, breathing them into it. But, you know, as an invitation, as part of a sexual experience. I had a lover say to me, like, I really like this, like, step-by-step process.
I feel so different. I think he was
used to, like, give it, you know, like, just do this, do that, like, blowjob, you know, like, for whatever, sure. Like, and
the porn pathway.
Exactly. And it was like, nope, you don't even take your pants off yet. Like, let's take it easy. You know?
And what do you notice? What's the difference in the expression of that person before and after?
I think firstly, the orgasms are so much more intense and bigger because it's not just like this hurried, like rushed experience. And there's so much more sensuality and intimacy, so much more connection, because I like to make eye contact and, you know, just like have the full range of experiences.
And what's your experience like?
Yeah, like really like taking time to dive into it and kind of connect and see like what works. I'm also need a lot of like warm up and foreplay to feel relaxed in my body. I really love when my partner is like checking me out and kind of like telling me how they love to look at me. Like this whole, like it's kind of like a whole menu. It's not just like genitals or kisses, you know, like, and I feel like his energy kind of like coming into me, like it's not even about and him really enjoying touching me and connecting, and there's like kind of like a cycle of response and receptivity and reaction and kind of like that feeds we feed off each other with this kind of like delight of touch and erotic, energetic connection.
It's that dance.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize that foreplay doesn't have to be in the bedroom. It doesn't have to start there, right? It could be through the day. We sort of lose sight with that. What I'm hearing is like there's a awareness, number one, I guess, and a slowing down.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. Because if my partner's in their head, it's really hard for me to get into my body.
How do you know your partner would be in your head? What does it look like?
I can just tell that they're like trying to make me come or something. You know what I mean? Like there's this goal orientation, and I'm just like, that's not like, yes, I love my orgasms and we will get there. But I don't want that to be like the project, like I want the intimacy and the connection and the sensuality to be the project and the orgasm to be the result.
I got you. You know what my partner always says is, I can feel when you're not present.
Yeah.
I know.
I was like, how the hell do you feel that?
Yeah, no.
And meanwhile, like I'm thinking I'm present. I'm in my head a little bit, but even that little bit percent, she can feel that.
Yeah, I'm like that
Pretty
too.
incredible.
I was like, hey, babes, you're like wavering. Your energy's wavering. My partner is like, okay, I'm back.
And we have to sort of like find what defines us that we can get back in our body. Yes. Right. I love the relaxed, grounding, sensuality, just to like get things going.
Yeah, but also it's really important that no matter where you are on the side in this like giving receiving moment, that you are enjoying it. You can't just be a giver without getting something out of it. Like if you're not enjoying it, that's part of like your energy is wavering, like because if you are not like really taking pleasure from your touch or really touching because it feels good to you, we call it touching for your own pleasure, like you're not actually present.
How many people in these partnerships don't even know what they love or like in bed? Are partners really going through just like the rigmarole of do this and push for an orgasm, and if we don't, it was a failure? How many people are disconnected from their truth?
It happens all the time. I mean, I feel like we don't even have that deeper conversation of psychological arousal and what really, really turns us on about sex. So people are just sort of like having mechanical sex that, maybe that can work in this very basic sense. But if you want to have the hottest, most passionate, most exciting, most arousing sex, you need to also have like to understand what turns somebody on. Like what's the juicy piece that what are the words that you need to say that really touch the core of their desires, or what is the way that you're holding their body or looking at them that gets to that psychological arousal, and people are not having that conversation. That's the conversation we help people have all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that there's shame coming up in that conversation. I can imagine, and all I can see is my perspective. Years ago, I'd freeze. I'd be like, I don't know what I like. How do I even say what I like? Where do I even start?
Yeah.
Are we so disconnected that we don't even know what we like? When those nights when you can't just turn your mind off and you're desperately looking for a way to unwind, and some people even use alcohol just to get to bed, and you ain't getting a deep sleep with it. But I found something that's been a total game changer for me. I've been using these THC gummies from Cornbread Hemp for quite a while now, and honestly, they really can transform the way you relax before bed. And for me, I'm on the go. I got a lot going on, and my body can get really wound up during the day. And if I don't disperse that energy, then I'm going to stay up. I'm going to be wound tight. This really helps take off that edge, and I can lay in bed and just relax and go to sleep. So whether it's after a long day of recording here on the podcast, or I just want to chill with friends and just take it down a notch, these gummies really help me find a perfect balance. What makes Cornbread Hemp really special is they're America's only USDA organic THC gummy. We are talking real THC with organic ingredients, none of that synthetic stuff. I'm gonna tell you the best part. They're 100% legal and shipped directly to your door. All of their products are third-party tested for safety and purity, and that's what we love here at Heal Thyself. My two favorite flavors, Blueberry Breeze and Blood Orange Bliss. They're both absolutely fantastic. Right now, Heal Thyself listener, you can save 30% on your first order. Just go to cornbreadhemp.com/DRG and use the code DRG at checkout. That is CORNBREADHEMP.com/DRG. The code is DRG. Cornbread Hemp is for a good life. You know, when we talk about health, we often focus on diet and exercise, but there's something foundational that we don't discuss enough, and that is the strength of your blood vessels, your vascular system. I'm talking about 60,000 miles of blood vessels that are in your body. Did you know that's enough to circle the earth 3 times? I'm gonna tell you one thing though. Every organ, every muscle, even how bright or glowy your skin is really depends on healthy blood flow. And without that optimal circulation, nothing in your body works at its peak. Of course, that's why I'm excited to share 2 game-changing products from Calroy, ArterioSil and Vasconox. ArterioSil supports something called the endothelial glycocalyx. We did a podcast on this specific part of your body because it's that important to your overall longevity. Think of it as a slippery protective inner lining in all of your blood vessels. And this micro thin layer, it gets damaged by stress, by sugar, and naturally by aging. But ArterioSil's unique Monotum RS formula helps you protect and restore it. And then there's Vasconox, which supports nitric oxide production for up to 24 hours with a single dose. And you know we did a show on nitric oxide. It is crucial for helping your blood vessels relax so nutrients can get where they need to go. And what I love about Calroy is that both products are backed by published research on their full formulations, and that's something rare in the supplement world. I want you to head over to calroy.com/DRG and you'll save over $50 when you purchase the Vasconox and ArterioSil bundle. Plus, you'll get a free canister of 2-in-1 nitric oxide test strips with a 3-pack bundle purchase. That is calroy.com/DRG.
I think like because of the education that we get, it's like kind of like from porn, like people just don't talk about what's possible to want.
Yeah.
So they don't even know. It's even like sometimes people feel shame, so then they don't ask for what they want because some people know what they want and they feel shame around asking for it or saying that. And sometimes people have no clue,
No idea.
what's on the menu. So a lot of what we do is actually help people break down what's on the menu, or if we have a feeling that someone knows but they're like not coming forth with it, like really help deshamify their experience and celebrate desires, because desires are amazing. They are such an amazing path for healing.
How is desires? Because this when you said that, it resonated with me. How is leading into your own desire such an amazing path for healing?
I think it creates like a deep level of acceptance. You know, if we're talking about really being who you are, when your desires are seen, you vulnerably share them, you have somebody who's there to actually meet them. It's like this sense of like, oh, it's totally okay to be who I am and to want what I want. And it creates so much empowerment and confidence when you go out in the world if you have sex like that.
Yeah, it's completely
and
different.
also like our desires are not random. They're like actually like a fingerprint, you know. They are ours. They are our desires because there is a healing potential here for us to either like do something, you know, like they're born, we don't choose what turns us on. It's something that like we're trying to resolve around like some things that were not resolved, like have a lot of emotional attention to them, and we're like really trying to resolve them and play with those really interesting materials in order to kind of create something different. So we either go to like, I'm going to create something different. For example, if someone was humiliated when they're young, okay, so they will like try to create something different. They want to be like the king,
in their
they
power,
want to be like in the power position.
Yeah.
And sometimes they might want to explore on the other side too, but with agency. For example, they want to, if they feel safe and they know that they're like the king, then they might sometimes want to even be humiliated a little bit with their partner just to see how it feels like to be able to play with those materials. So that's why it's so fascinating and so healing to be able to play with those psychological materials.
The way that I feel into it is that like there's the authentic expression outside of the bedroom where we have our life, and do I go there or do I not go there, or how do I go there with my business coworkers, life, family, friends. And then in the bedroom, it seems that darkness or the unexpressed material, it seems so much harder to express than, you know, the anger on the outside or the fear on the outside. But the sexual desires can seem so taboo that I can imagine how many people freeze because they go, well, is my partner going to accept that? If they don't, am I going to be abandoned because of this one thing that I want to express? But on the flip side, and what you were saying here, Doc, is wow, imagine the level of acceptance for all of you by your partner who accepts your sexual desires that for you were taboo, but for her or him or whatever, they say, oh, no, that's fine. Open with me. And you go, oh my God, that's beautiful. That's healing.
It
The
is
nervous system goes,
exactly.
I'm safe to be me, especially in the bedroom.
Exactly.
We just got back from London. We were on a TV show called Virgin Island where we brought like 12 virgins onto an island and helped them learn about sex. And there's this one
Whoa,
woman.
wait, hold
Wait,
on.
wait. No. This
Where
is a
can I,
hit.
is this going to come out? What am I going to
It's
say?
out.
It's out.
It's out
in
where?
London,
in
in the
London.
London Netflix? I
We're
got to
hoping
stream
that
it.
it comes to America too.
It's such a good
Honestly, if
idea.
it doesn't come to America, I don't know what will, because it was a hit. It was like
That's a big hit.
it was really a hit.
So go on. I'm sorry,
Oh
because
yeah,
that
no.
just
So
blew
I was
me
just gonna
away.
say there was this like experience that I had with this woman, Taylor, who was on the show, and she's a lesbian, and she doesn't like compliments, right? But she's like, well, you can like, I mean, and I was like, what? It's okay for me to say that you're a good girl. And she turned bright red, right? Which is the release of shame. But we're in a joyful, pleasurable moment. And then she laughs, and she's like, no. And then she was like, I mean, you could tell she loved it, and she sort of like owned it. She's like, yeah, I guess I do have a praise kink.
She
And
did.
those are the moments, that actual embodied release of the shame in a celebratory moment where we're having so much fun. And clearly I am highly approving of her praise kink and willing to engage in it. That releases the shame, and a new pattern is put in the
Completely.
body right in that moment.
Holy moly. For the first time in her life, probably.
Yeah,
Oh my
totally.
God. Well, first of all, I got to see this show. I
Yeah,
gotta
you
get my
can
hands
see
on
some.
it.
You can see some clips on Instagram.
Oh,
Just like if you
amazing.
want to have a little bit of a taster.
If you want to, okay, you mentioned praise kink, and I didn't even know that was a type of kink. And for those viewers and listeners, you may not know, but some of y'all are kinky as hell. But what are some kinks that are that we don't even like? Let's put names on some kinks where people can say, I feel like that is kind of me, because there's some people who have no idea what's in that material that they don't want to bring up. So what are some common kinks that some couples that you see, or men express or women express?
Well, I've been learning a little bit more about brats. Brats are people who want to they want to fight you, but then they want to lose.
Oh, okay. Like put up a fight.
So it's like a dominance and submissive relationship, but they want to fight back. But then, you're like, oh, well, if you fight back, you're not going to get the goodies. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll do what you say.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's one of them.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
And we
praise
have
one.
like the known one, like there's someone who is like in power position. They can be like kings, queens, doctors, whatever. They choose to be like in power position. And then there's like someone who is like being submissive, and kind of like maybe there's such a huge array of kinks around that. It's kind of insane, like to even like start to count it. And but like some people want to be kind of like taken advantage of, other people want to be humiliated, other people want to be like like they are seemingly bottoming, like they are receiving, but they actually are in charge of the situation. So they're like telling their top what to do. So there's like a lot of ways to play with power. And I think in many ways, power is this thing that people really love playing with, because, when we like growing up, we don't have power. So that's a fun way to gain power or gain other feelings.
This was my next question, actually. The kinks, can they be informed by trauma?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And is that a healthy expression?
100%.
Okay.
I love that you asked that, because people have this like so much judgment about how you're supposed to take care of trauma.
Yeah.
How you heal trauma. And in our sessions, like in our coaching and when we work with students, like they get to this feeling of like, oh my God, like, yeah, your core desires or what turns you on is going to be informed by challenging experiences, including trauma. And you might want to stay away from it and not play it and go into like more like spiritual realms or something like that. Or you really, and sometimes you are feeling that fantasy might creep in. So like helping them really like play with that and feel safe and own it, as opposed to be scared of it, is really, really empowering.
That is in itself the healing.
Exactly.
To be able
The
to
owning
feel
it.
and express and own that part of you
Yeah, and we
instead of
call
running
it
away.
like repetition with agency. So maybe the bad thing is happening again. You're repeating it, but you're choosing it, and you can say no at any point. Like you
Agency.
have a safe word. And so you're taking an experience that at once was out of your control and you're bringing it into your control. You're finding the arousal in it, but you're safe now with somebody who cares about you.
Oh my God.
And that's way
the
better,
healing.
because what happens if people don't get to play it somewhere, they many times just go and just like do it without agency, and they find partners is going to be abusive to them, and they find like they repeat this like painful experiences, and we're just like, yeah, wait, you can separate what you do in your life. You don't have to find abusive partners. You can find like really nice people who would love to play that experience with you while you are feeling safe and allowing yourself to really release around it.
I love that we are taking the trauma into effect here. I want to go into the pleasure in a moment, but in the context of the trauma, do you both believe that it's in the body? Is it in the nervous system? Can it get stuck there through time? And how does the Somatica method like approach this perspective? How do we start working with people who are like, oh my God, I may have been abused, or I may have been neglected, or made fun of, or whatever it is that's there? How do we start kind of defrosting that, saying you're safe?
Yeah, both through pleasure, like playing out these fantasies in a way where people feel very empowered, and also just getting people in touch with their emotional selves again, because there's so much repression around emotion. And with trauma, you actually do need to feel through it and release it from the body in some sort of emotional way. It isn't always crying. Sometimes it's laughing or screaming or shaking. But there has to be this like space where people can move through the experience in an embodied way, as opposed to just thinking about it.
Yeah, and like very foundational to that is also de-shamifying. That's a term that we like celebrate, like reducing shame around having trauma, because all those core desires are coming from some sort of pain points, and we don't choose them. So that like normalizes like, oh, I can have trauma and I can have pleasure. And that's like amazing.
Yeah. How so to the fellas out there, okay, this is for you guys to perk your ears up here, okay? How many men come to your set? Do you have workshops all throughout, I'm assuming, the country, right?
Well, what we do is we train coaches in our method now.
Awesome.
So, but we were working individually with clients for many, many years. We do still see some individual clients, but so our students are, as they're learning how to help other people, they're also going through their own transformations.
Okay.
And then we have all of our clients as well.
And shout out to the students listening too. So for the men, what is the most common expression that they're being held back in sex with their partners?
I'm not sure exactly. Like, can you say more in terms of what you?
Or do you see that men who show up, who want to do the work, are they in a performative mindset, over performative?
Yeah.
Are they in a over, I don't know how to express my needs? Are they ashamed about their body or their penis size, right?
I think there's performance. I also think there's a lot of fear, like, how can they tell if their partner also wants it or is consenting? Like there's a big fear of crossing boundaries.
Oh, so they're held back and
Yeah, and so they won't make a move, especially the guys who come and work with us, because they're more like on the shy side of the spectrum usually, or something like that. And they really care deeply about people, and so they don't want to harm anyone, but because of that they don't end up like making any moves. And so then what I feel like is women miss out because the nice guys are holding back, right? And the guys who don't care at all are just like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it, so I really love to help nice guys get more confident, because I think it's like a gift to the women of the world in the heterosexual context, obviously. And helping them feel like, how do you create like sexy consent and those kinds of things, right? I feel like that's the wave of the future. We need to figure out how to make consent sexy.
Yeah.
There might be a lot of women out there who go, oh my God, my husband might be one of the nice guys, or maybe my husband is only in that porn cycle, or like do this, do this, do this, then this.
Or we've been married for however many years and we didn't talk about sex and I'm bored.
And I'm
It's
bored.
also happening a lot,
So
right?
so what would you say to the women out there who are, this is really resonating with their husband, who goes, we've been together 25 years.
Mhm.
Our sex life has become more than monotonous. We kind of don't even have sex anymore, and we're kind of roommates. How do we
Totally.
start bringing that connection back?
Yeah, it's very common, right? Because people are like don't know how to keep, like we do so many things that we keep moving ourselves in life. We look for a new career. We try to climb the steps. We try to take care of our health. But people, like, sex is one of those things that you want to like pay attention to and start to talk and like really explore together and alone, like find out who you are, but share it with your partner if you feel comfortable. Learn how to share it with your partner, because that's where actually intimacy is built. And then, like, if you're bored, don't just like suck it up. Like, start talking about it, bring it up, say like, hey, what turns you on? What really turns me on? And again, like, it requires some sort of exploration, because like it takes time to figure out what turns you on. And what I love about it, it's kind of endless. Like, you can keep learning and growing and like expanding the kind of like the repertoire of pleasure that you can have.
I feel like women also wait for men to lead,
Mm-hmm.
but we're much more complex and we get bored much more easily.
True,
So it's
true.
like if you're just waiting for that to happen, you might wait a very long time. But if you say, okay, I want this to be different, I want this to be better, I want to learn my erotic desires, I want to start to share them, I want to start to like, that doesn't mean like you can lead somebody into taking you. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you have to be like dominant or a top or something. You can teach somebody how to seduce you, but if you're just hoping that it's going to happen and you're sitting around and waiting for it, you're probably going to wait a long time.
Yeah, especially with the shy guys who don't know how to assert themselves yet.
Exactly.
So how do we have the people out there who are really kind of frozen in their sexual energy? They go, I kind of can't feel pleasure. When my partner touches me, I contract, and I don't know why. I love him or her or whoever, and they feel contracted. How do we even get that ice block melting so they can actually start feeling pleasure again?
Yeah, we have an amazing class on erotic embodiment, like
Cool.
really helping people like take all the sensations and start to kind of incorporate it into your erotic body. Like, how do you like use all the potential sensual experiences in the world, like sounds and taste and movement and like, touch, and take it in and start to develop your erotic body, and start to like make sounds and live bigger life.
I love
And
that.
yeah.
And we
fun.
have one about the erotic mind. And I feel like the combination of the physiological pleasure and the mental pleasure is like how you get the most holistic, hot, erotic experiences. So there's like what you want to feel sensationally and what you want to feel emotionally. And you put those together and it's like,
Yeah.
that's how the explosion.
Connecting both.
Yeah, and you don't need to choose. You can have them both. And we also have classes on touch, like how to touch in a way that's going to be sensual. And
This
like,
is so important.
it
This
is.
foundation.
Yeah.
Do you know that I had no idea how I wanted to be touched until I was like 38 years old?
Wow.
It's crazy. I went most of my adult life like not knowing that I don't like my neck anything. I don't want my neck kissed. I don't like it touched. And not knowing that my whole body contracts every single time it is.
Wow.
I didn't even know that till this year, actually. That one was a big breakthrough this year.
That's an amazing year for you.
It's
I'm
an
so happy
amazing
you
year.
found
I know.
out.
So important.
But I love that you're saying the sounds in the pleasure, because this has been, I have a coach, this has been my work this week, is when I'm eating, first of all, not be on my phone. So no emails when I'm eating, no Instagram when I'm eating, definitely no TV. And I'm here I am eating alone in my lonely kitchen, and I'm eating and I'm feeling the food. And when the food hits like a level of like, oh, that was a good bite or a good flavor, I make a sound. And she also said, do it in the shower when the water's hitting you.
Yeah.
I actually make more sound in the shower than I do with food.
I'm literally starting to get turned on right now.
Right.
I love when men make sound, and a lot of times they don't talk or make
Yeah.
sound during sex, and I'm just like, please say something.
Big
Like
one.
seriously, yeah. Like
So I'm just
even-
picturing you like,
I'm in the shower. I'm in the shower,
do
and
it,
if the
do it.
water's hitting me, and I'm like, it's bringing life to me.
Yeah.
But sound was the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
It's really
For men,
hard.
unless it's like black and white. Unless there's like these men who are really tuned into sound and dirty talking, and then there's a lot of the nice men, I think. Who,
Yeah.
they're
Well, and
really
everything
quiet.
you're saying is all circulated around your throat, right? You're saying,
Yeah.
I don't want to be kissed there. I'm not able to open there. So that's the work for you.
For
and
sure.
you're really
Neck
doing
pain
it.
this week, sore throat last week.
Yeah.
Come on, it's all coming up now.
Yeah. And you know,
Oh, I'm
and
aware.
you know what? It's like really like, like people listen, it's like, oh, trauma. And I was like, we don't care. Like, you don't have to understand why. You can work with that without understanding the why it happened. Like we don't have to like name it. We can just say like, okay, what I'm noticing that there's tension here. Like maybe I'm
Exactly.
going to be gentle to it.
Exactly.
I'm going to listen to my body instead of trying to figure it out in my head. And like, wow, like I'm like making sounds and it feels good. Like we don't have to analyze everything.
But when we love to do that.
I know the
Right?
brain want to create a story and it's like,
So
When-
when you make sounds, does it like increase the pleasure for you?
It feels good. Oh my God, it's next
I
level.
just want to
No, right?
It's next
I just
level.
want to have like a community. Now all of
Yeah,
us
we're
make
gonna make
sound
some
together.
sound.
How about that?
I know,
Like,
just mutual sounding.
Mutual
But I
sounding.
have a wonderful partner who encourages it, right? Because I didn't know most of my life it was quiet.
Yeah.
Like quiet as a church mouse, right?
yeah.
You know
But
she's
it's
trying to
not-
get us to do it right
Yeah,
now. too.
we're gonna
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sound. Are
Yeah.
we gonna
You
make
wanna
sound?
do it
right?
with us?
Breath- yeah, let's do it. How do we do it? Oh my God,
Just
this is gonna be. I'm
close your eyes.
Okay, I'm ready for this, America. Put the AC on.
Close your eyes. Take
Okay.
a breath and just let the air. When you exhale, just like. And let it vibrate throughout your body, all the way down to your pelvic floor. And you can notice if your body want to shake through it. It feels like such a nice internal instrument. You like your body is being played like an instrument from the inside.
I'm buzzing.
Yeah,
My body's
exactly.
buzzing.
And I'm gonna add another trick. Okay.
You got all the
Laughter
codes
comes
over
out
here.
too, right? Like laughter.
It's
So
all
like
release,
it's all
release.
release. I know I'm shaking. Like so let's do one more if you.
She's endless. So you get her
No,
started.
One more, please. One more.
100%.
Got you,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Thinking you're on like, okay, that was good. I'm done.
Oh, like no, like 20 minutes of sound.
I'm gonna
No,
put
we're
the-
not gonna do
I'm
20
putting the
minutes.
AC on. I'm putting the
Yes,
AC on.
thank you to that.
We got to get the airflow
love
in here.
Just to add to this, like a little bit of eroticism, so it
Yeah.
won't sound or feel clinical. Let's like make a sound that goes all the way down to the pelvic floor and then just squeeze it a little bit and release. Okay, let's do one more breath like that.
We're squeezing the sound and holding it there
Yeah.
and then
We
release.
can keep
In the
making
pelvic
sounds. We're just holding
Okay.
the
Squeeze the
pelvic floor.
muscles. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's inhale and just like don't try not to even be performative at all. Like who
For
cares
sure.
what sound comes out, okay? When this sound kind of hits the pelvic floor, just give it a couple squeezes. Ooh, and then release.
Wow, that's the first time we ever did something like that on my podcast. That's great. Feels great.
Gotta try some new things.
Yeah, the system
Ooh,
feels
just got
so.
all that
I feel
arousal.
alive.
Do you feel, yeah, amazing.
It's like my vision's better now.
I know. I feel the
It's
same.
crazy.
Embodiment.
Embodiment, erotic
the
embodiment.
fastest-
Because embodiment tell you it kind of stops in the belly button and say, oh, you're missing a whole world here
The
down
whole
here, your pelvic floor.
Oh my God! I thank you for leading us to that. That was
My
incredible.
pleasure.
Yeah, the sound is the key
Helps.
Yeah.
for this
it's-
type of movement of this energy.
Yeah, it really does help. Like the breath and the sound really help to move the energy throughout the body.
Well, we're doing a nice little getaway today, so I know the practices we're going to do.
Oh,
This whole weekend, we're
Amazing.
going to do it, holding it and moving it. I never heard of anything, just holding it on the base and
Yeah.
moving it
And
through.
then relaxing it. yeah.
Wow. I've done a lot of somatic work and in repressed emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and the method that I've created is around sound.
Hmm.
But I quickly realized in this somatic work, if you don't connect to the sound, things don't move. It's the sound that really moves it. And a lot of the women, I work with a lot of women, oh my God, the things that are stuck in the womb, the repressed emotions of just like shame. I would say the shame's the biggest one. But when that's moved and embodied, it changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's helpful, so helpful for orgasm too.
Yeah, which I want to.
There's connection between this diaphragm and this diaphragm.
The
And
throat.
the
and
throat, yeah, we're like on air, right? We're on sound, so I'm gonna use the
Yeah.
word. The throat
Uh-huh.
diaphragm and the pelvis diaphragm are both connected, so like it vibrates together.
The more sound, the more arousal, can you say?
It's
Yeah.
like almost like you can use the sound, both hearing it
Mm.
and
Mm-mm.
making it
Mm-mm.
to take you over the edge
Wow.
of orgasm, and to
Wow.
just like increase the arousal and arousal and arousal, and then take you over the edge.
Yeah, and also like I feel that people are just like feel that there's only one way to have kind of like an emotional release around orgasms, and like, oh my God, like I cry when I have orgasms. I laugh hysterically when I have orgasms. I like laugh and cry with joy, and I think like it's really important to say it because people are just like, I'm only supposed to be so restricted. I can't make all those, like, it's not okay to cry. Am I okay? Like, we literally got a DM after Virgin Island. Like, someone asked me, like, is it okay if I like cry all the time? I don't know. Can you help me stop it? I said, like, do not stop it. This is it. Like, let it go. This is your erotic energy. You're like working stuff out. That's amazing.
And laughgasms.
Laughgasm.
Oh my God. All those,
Laughgasms.
yeah, and all of the hormones that release. Like I get so high from orgasm, and then I'm just like laughing so hard.
And laughing is more than okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing.
It's for some people how they release. It doesn't have to be a porn orgasm. It can be a laugh orgasm.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Wow.
I laugh
Okay.
so hard when I'm having pleasure.
So what's that block? There's so many blocks. There's so many women out there who goes, I can't have an orgasm. I haven't had one maybe ever, or I haven't had one in years. Is it mostly mental? Is it somatic? Is it sound? Is it pleasure? What is, I know it's more complex now, but what is really like the theme that's happening when women can't orgasm?
Well, it's all of the above, but I mean, I'm just gonna go really basic to start out with. Bring your vibrator to work, babe. Like seriously,
Yeah.
I think there's so much taboo, but it's
Yeah.
like it's a really good tool for the job, and for for women to bring it into sex and not worry that their partners are going to get like intimidated or something, but really teach them how to share in the pleasure. Like I need some fingers inside of me when I'm using my vibrator, or like I want to kiss you, or like feel you do something to my breasts, so that you're not just like thinking, okay, the only way that I can come is if they manage to do the right thing. Like take ownership of your orgasm, whatever that means. Touch your own body, use your vibrator. Teach your partners how to do it right. Like I think so, it's not that easy to come if you're a woman. There's a whole set of things that you need to do.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out what your own particular set of things are,
Different for different people.
different for different people.
So you can imagine how stressed men are. Will this formula work than this one? How do we go with
And
this
every
one?
day there's a different formula,
There's
like my body
God, and on
changes
top
every
of that,
day. Like, come
on a
on,
Tuesday,
every
the formula's
minute it
different.
changes in the arousal curve,
that's
So I was
right.
like, so much responsibility. Why do you have to be so in charge? Like, it's way better to create a dynamic and, to be not so offended about like, hey, I wanna, like we are in partnership dancing around that. So I can say what I need. I know like my partners are so grateful when I tell them what I need in the next steps in order to help me come, and they love it. They love to see me in pleasure, and they love that I tell them, because then it's more likely to happen.
It would be so helpful for
Yeah.
So
someone to hear
helpful.
that, to be like, okay, because I don't know. I mean, men, like, we have this innate want to accomplish and do things
Totally.
right, but if we just get a little blueprint, but like it takes the person having their own somatic sense or what works for them.
Exactly. And ongoing communication, because sometimes I need really gentle fingers and sometimes I need deep, more intense fingers, and that's like just like the day of the month or, the moment in the arousal curve. And you can't know that unless you're inside my body. So I have to tell someone, for it to happen.
And even I don't always know it until it's happening. And so it's like a moment by moment experience in order to really be in alignment around helping someone have it's a tall order, thing to do to help someone orgasm. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big
not trivial
thing.
at all.
It's a big thing. It's not.
It's like really
need teamwork.
So I think guys should just bring vibrators to their lovers.
Bring it to the bedroom.
That's like, why not make it a teamwork?
Or women. I mean,
whoever.
I always brought vibrators when I was having sex with women. I was like, here's mine, here's yours.
Take your ego out of it, basically. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. I know a lot of men out there. They're like, oh no, hold on, wait a minute.
I need to be the one who gives
I need
her
to be the
orgasm.
one. Yeah, but
I was like, good luck. That's what.
Okay, here's something that I don't understand about men. They love tools.
They
love tools.
Except in the bedroom.
Like everything. This tool and that tool, the other thing. Bring the best tool to the job.
Yeah, and that's the best tool.
True. That's a great tool.
It's a great tool.
That's a great
use
tool.
all your tools.
Yeah. The communication, I keep hearing, it's so like it's the communication piece. You have to have an awareness, and you got to be able to communicate that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, what's going to happen? You're going to be holding it to yourself, not in your pleasure. And you want to be on the same page over and over.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also like not to feel like you have to know it all in advance. It's like a shared process and a shared something that you like do together, and you hopefully going to keep growing around it. So why use like the same thing that worked when you were in the honeymoon phase or the beginning, like it's not going to work again 10 years later. You need like advanced tools.
And it's so fun to get to know someone over and over and over again on that intimate level.
Is there a role that technology's distracting people from their proper sense of intimacy and sexuality and connection? Is there a problem that's arising here with the younger generations and even our generations where we're touching on the phone and are we overstimulated and then kind of numb when it comes to pleasure?
I think we're just all staring at our phones. Like, it's so sad. I'm walking around in the world and I'm always just like, smiling. I want to say hello to people. And it's like, you can't even catch anybody's eye anymore, because people are all in their phones. And I do think that's why the reason we were invited on this show is there's like a crisis of virginity, right? Like all of these people are not connecting intimately. They're making it about virginity, but like virginity is just symbolic of the fact that people aren't connecting on an intimate level, and that's what we want to keep happening even in the face of all of this technology, which is constantly bringing us into our head and distracting us.
There's also a lot of like fear because like everything is so public on the phone. It's like private. You can be very private and watch porn on the phone, and like that's also like it's just like porn. It's not inherently a bad thing. I really want to say it. I don't want to shame people around watching porn. I watch porn. You watch porn?
I watch porn.
Yeah, but it's more like if you just train yourself around porn, you'll be like less equipped to actually be able to make love in the real life. It's just like a completely different experience. It's like eating by yourself or eating with other people, just completely different experience. So that's one thing. But there's also like the really, really big fear of like, if I'm going to say something wrong, like if I'm going to text someone something wrong, or I'm going to be like the vulnerability thing and the societal kind of like management, like people are being canceled, people are being made fun of. Like there's like all those things that make people much more scared to like make moves.
Yeah, it feels like we have like these like boundaries around us where we just have to show up in a certain way in life. And definitely in the bedroom, and what I'm hearing from you both is that we can sort of kind of remove some of these boundaries, loosen them up, start feeling more pleasure, start connecting more to our body, start communicating better. And all of a sudden these boundaries start opening up and like gives us this freedom. I think sexual healing is the most potent healing. I do. It's like the fastest way to like, and sometimes the hardest way for many people to see the darkest parts of you and be like, someone still loves me or someone still can hold this. I'm okay. That's the healing right there.
Yeah.
Right there. And also learning to have more pleasure. So if you have more pleasure, that 24 hours a day, if you spend more time in pleasure, you'll spend less time in pain. Just math, you know.
Yeah, for real. Those are the opposing forces,
Yeah.
right? And and I think about technology, how it affects our dopamine system in our brain. We are affecting our pleasure centers. We are actually blunting our ability to feel pleasure. Let's put the phone down, spend some time with your partner. It's sad. Like I've seen it with even some friends. Like I go to their house and watching a movie and I look at their partner and the one's on phone, the other one's on the phone. And I'm like, they don't even talk to each other really. Right. Like it's just, they do it every night, they're in their own universes and galaxies.
Yeah, if you really want to use your phone, just text your partner something sexy while you're watching the movie.
Yeah. I'll meet you in the bedroom.
In
Right.
the bedroom. Oh, that
Right?
really turns me on.
Some
What we're
beautiful
seeing
word.
now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I date younger people, so I had somebody start texting in the middle of sex once.
No, come on.
It was hilarious.
How do you text in the middle of sex?
Their boss was like on them and they started texting and I was like, well, I'm going to get mine. I don't know what to say. You do your thing down there. And I'll be up here.
Wow. And he went on a text spree.
Yeah, I still was, I mean,
Yeah,
I got what I needed. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure that he did.
Yeah.
Because he was busy. But yeah, and some people, I do want to say, I want to deshamify that too, because I think like some people have fantasies about like being busy and having an orgasm while they're busy. Like you can develop some fantasies around that.
Yeah. It seems like there's endless amount of fantasies that you can play with as long as you start really tuning into what feels good. How do I want to express this pleasure?
Yeah,
and it
also,
might
like,
change.
And get greedy about your pleasure. Like, yeah, you need to check this phone while you're like having sex. Like, okay, like how do I make it part of sex instead of like check out? Like, oh wow, like I'm reading this and they're like giving me heads.
Yeah. You can enjoy both.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna ask a question, but now I want to. I grew up very religious, and it informed a lot of my relationship with sex. And for all the gifts that it has given, at least in the way we treat people in this world, it has really caused a lot of traumas around sex, early childhood views of how I should perceive things, and I had to really overcome that for years. In both your experience and the workshops you do, the people you work with, how much of a role does religion play in the trauma of sex?
I think it's huge, actually, just societally, overall, there's so much repression, so much shame. And, like for a lot of people, they've just said, like, it's like Jesus is breathing down my neck, like when I'm in the bedroom, right? And there's just like, you're not supposed to, there's just so many rules that it causes people to shut down, instead of seeing like this, that love is spiritual, you know what I mean? Or
that is God right there. That's the experience of God.
And Kinsey did research on that, and he found that like he found that that's one of the biggest impacts on people being shut down sexually, having challenges around sexuality, is like the training around religion.
That's a major cause of impact. I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. It like, how can you feel pleasure if you feel shame?
Yeah. And you're not allowed to do so many things. Everything is just like falls in the bucket of wrong.
Yeah. Whoa, that's potent. That's definitely my experience. And maybe viewers and listeners, same for you. If you bring in more intimacy and more aliveness to the bedroom, can that actually translate to something like your business or your work?
Yeah. That's what we do every day. We bring more pleasure into
to even a business and work.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It alivens it.
Our like like our foundational principle in our business is like really follow what turns us on and gives us pleasure, and that's how we make business decisions.
Pleasure and turn on.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy you all said yes to this podcast then, because that just shows me you guys tune into something. All right, amazing.
Sure.
That's what a way to say it, because like for me, I'm a spiritual man. The soul, I think, speaks to us through excitement, right? And pleasure, excitement and pleasure. And it's so crazy that like we go through religion and we believe that that is not the signal. But that's literally the soul saying, hey, follow the excitement, follow the pleasure. That's where it wants to go, right? To experience. And so this is how you all make your
Yeah.
business decisions too.
Yeah, that's how you create an amazing life for yourself. You listen to the voice of pleasure inside of you, and you respect the voice of pleasure inside of other people.
Mm. Mm. Okay, I have a question then. Doesn't that lead to God damn, what's that word?
Hedonism, God
Hedonism.
forbid.
That's the word. That's the word. Hedonism. You already know what I was going to say.
I knew what you're heading. I know that's the fear that being like really instilled in us, that if we just gonna follow pleasure, we're not gonna do anything. We're only gonna just like lay in bed and do nothing. But
I mean, we have a pretty successful business.
exactly,
We follow our pleasure all the time.
all the
Yeah.
time.
So it will lead you to
Yeah, it's just like there's no like you don't have to choose. You can live a life full of pleasure and listen, like use it as a motivator instead of just like, oh, if you're gonna have pleasure, you wouldn't want to do work. It's like, no, bring pleasure into your work. Let pleasure be your guide that tells you, like, oh, I really want to do this. I don't want to be doing a career that I'm not excited about. I want to be doing something that really excites me. You know, it's that, and then you start to follow something that really excites you.
what does pleasure somatically feel like to you?
Ah, amazing.
Mhm.
Like, it just
Do you
like,
feel, do you know that like every time my chest tingles or my genitals or my belly, what, okay. So it's
definitely, I have
genital
a huge
alive.
oracle
Okay.
compass, pelvic oracle in my G
Pelvic
spot.
oracle. Okay, so that's the guy. You know what it
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like. And you can't mistake it. You can't go, I don't know if that's
no.
really.
No, but it takes time to develop this level of listening and even relate to this as like informative, you
Right.
know, like this is information.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Same with you?
Yeah, completely. That's where it's located for me. Some people, they feel it in their belly or their chest, or it's like a
Yeah.
sensation all over their skin. So it's different for different people. But for mine, it's completely in my pussy.
Yeah.
Whoa. I feel it in my spine.
Mhm.
It kind of
That's
feels
great.
like a lightness in my spine. Like it's just like, oh, my shoulders
Fantastic.
too. They relax too.
There you
It's a
go.
relaxation.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally a relaxation. Incredible. So the viewers and listeners out there, how are they going to connect to their pleasure? What's the first step to even start connecting to our pleasure?
Embodiment.
Embodiment.
Erotic embodiment, like really starting to bring more pleasure into your body with everything. Do you see like how much guilt we have about all the pleasures of life?
Huge.
Guilt about sex, guilt
Huge.
about food,
Oh my God.
guilt about like
Relaxing.
relaxing, guilt
Huge.
about like enjoyment. We have so much guilt that
Receiving care, like all of those things that give so much pleasure. So if in the moments when those things are happening, if you actually try to take them in actively, as opposed to push them away. I do it a lot of times when I tell people how I feel about them and they're like, can't take it in. I'm like, what if you just take a deep breath now and actually take in what I'm saying to you
Yeah.
and let it resonate through your body,
Mm.
like a compliment. But food, like feeling sex, feeling what it feels like to look in somebody's eyes and be quiet and just like let it land in your body somewhere. That's ways that you start to create erotic embodiment.
Receiving. True receiving. Like somatic, open receiving.
yeah.
Wow.
And it's a training. It's like training a muscle, you know.
Or you can be doing it when you're giving, right? So if I'm like giving you pleasure and I can feel all the pleasure that's happening in your body and I let it circulate through my body.
You can do that.
Oh yeah. Like even
feels
like
so
watching
good.
someone touch someone, like you can like really see like, how does that feel, and start to feel it in your body. It's like really think about what a gift to be able to feel fully in your body. It's so rich.
That's why we're here, right?
Exactly.
Otherwise, we'd just be souls flying around or whatever you believe. But
Exactly.
like, we're here to feel.
And just notice like we are doing this conversation, the three of us, and it feels good. I feel good.
I feel good.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it feels great.
Right?
Yeah, it feels true. It feels we need more conversations like this. On these type of podcasts, this podcast, we always like search for and talk about all these things when in reality we just need to fucking feel good.
Yeah.
First of all, like, you know, it's
Yes.
like how much stress you're causing your body if you're eating healthy and all these supplements and all these things, and you just don't want to feel good. You know, you're not
Not
tuned
taking
into
it
your
in.
pleasure.
Yeah.
What's the point of life,
That's what I
right?
say. I don't see
I
any point. I
agree.
don't understand it at all.
What's the point?
What's the point?
If there's no pleasure,
Yeah, and you've
Yeah.
got like there's so much potential pleasure available every single day, you know, just like touching someone's skin
mm-hmm,
and feeling the goosebumps
mm-hmm.
in your own body, just like taking a bite of delicious food and feeling it on your tongue, you know, like it's here all the time.
True, and but it requires presence,
It
right?
does. You
Exactly.
gotta
You
be
need
there
that
for it.
presence to
You
feel
gotta
it.
be there for
You
it.
need- yeah.
Okay, so you two developed a method,
Mhm.
and what's the name of the method?
Somatica.
Okay, and teaching students now. For how long have you been teaching students?
15
Wow,
years?
15 years.
15 years or two.
Training coaches to do this work.
Incredible.
Yeah, and we have like an international community of coaches all over the world
And
doing
you
this work.
and you both met at a class.
Yeah.
And we talk about this off air. What did you say? How did you say?
Oh, I was just, you know, like I'm a little bit of a butterfly, so I just split it up to Danielle and I was like, oh, we should teach a class together.
And I was like, yeah, in March 2000, we're going to start. And that's how the class is going to look like.
She
That's
gave you the
place.
time. She gave you the itinerary. She put it on your
Yeah, we
phone.
started
Yeah.
planning.
We always talk about, words and music between us.
We're so
Cool.
opposite,
We're so
completely
opposite.
opposite, except we have the same philosophy
Mm.
about how to help people through these embodied mutually vulnerable methods. And yeah, so it's like no matter how different we are, we have the vision that
Beautiful.
we share, and it started with that first workshop.
Hmm.
Oh, amen.
I felt like I was coming home like, oh, this is what I've always been meant to do. Like it felt so easy, whereas other things had felt like, oh, okay, I can do it, but it doesn't makes me feel like alive and but teaching that first workshop, I was like, oh, here we are.
is that purpose when you feel that? When you feel alive with your work and
Yeah, purpose and joy and alignment and just like fulfillment. It feels amazing.
Mhm.
And
And helping people feel so good. You know, I think if we tuned into pleasure actually and weren't so much like work ethic, if we had a pleasure ethic, then we probably would do a lot more as a human society to just take better care of each other and help each other,
Yeah.
because it is pleasurable to see people feel better.
Yeah, and I think that that's the next level that people don't see, that they don't even feel their pleasure. They can't even tune into someone else's pleasure. But my God, what the world would be if we followed our true pleasure, right? Which is in many ways benevolent. Like, wow, I feel so good and so in my body and alive. I want to give more of this to you.
yeah, it creates more empathy too.
Yeah.
Because we're here, all of us resonating with pleasure and energy, right? We feel it. There's like this feeling in the room. And then like people will be much more empathetic if they start tuning into themselves and then like seeing like, oh, I want to connect.
Beautiful. Man, I'm learning so much. And here I am thinking I learned a lot, but there's so much more to learn. How you have books out. You've written some books. What are the name of the books? What's the latest one? Is there any upcoming projects that are happening?
So many things.
I know.
I mean, I think if people really want to get the most out of the work, they can take one of our classes. We've created these video classes and they're much more interactive and engaging. We definitely, and that's at learn.somatica.
Learn.somatica.com.
But we have written 3 books, Making Love Real, Coming Together, and Confidence. And those each have different, kind of like the Making Love Real is for couples to help them have deeper emotional and erotic connection. Coming Together is really understanding who you are as an erotic being psychologically. And Confidence is for men who want to be true to themselves in relationship, but amazing lovers to women.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
then like if someone want to be a coach and
Yeah.
really get excited about that and want to like lead a life full of pleasure professionally and also help others, we have the Somatica training and you can find us on somaticainstitute.com.
oh, so cool. And how long is that training?
Takes about a year, but people can start seeing clients after 6 months.
So you guys are building the competent trainees and they're coming out and they're ready to
Yeah.
come into the world. This is what we need.
And you know what we're excited about that show? Because now it's on TV. People start to see those tools on TV and start to see like how intimacy builds confidence, and
Hell
how
yeah.
intimacy and all those tools like build confidence. And we just today found out that it was commissioned for season 2.
Oh, whoa, you guys, you're going back.
We are going back.
Amazing.
12 more
Amazing.
virgins.
Whoa, that's
And
so
a whole
cool.
world of people watching.
Oh, we need American version of
I know. We're
this.
just like, yes, America, yes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna find a way to watch this.
Mhm.
Cause listen, I don't watch TV much, but it's something I would absolutely watch because I'm like, I know them. I got their autographs after the show.
And
That's
it's
gonna be
like
so
so
cool.
sweet and so heartwarming, and you like really follow their process into like stepping into their confidence, and it's really beautiful and heartwarming.
Watching them
Beautiful.
blossom is
Yeah.
profound.
Yeah. So for the UK peeps that's out there,
Mhm.
maybe in America we'll see it. I'm gonna check the page. Man, I can't thank you both enough for the perspectives you've given me and the audience at Heal Thyself, and also what you both are doing for the world, and the authenticity that I feel from both of you. You guys claimed yourselves a long time ago. I know that, and I feel it, and I'm inspired, and for the practice today. Really amazing stuff. Hope to have you back again, both of you.
I
Thank
would
you.
love that. Thank you.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
All
It's been a
right.
pleasure.